Hey y'all, so I am just making a quick little video, and it might just be for me, it might be for other people, who knows. It's, I always forget when I do stuff, so I'd rather just record it and have it for later for me, or if someone wants to do something, if someone wants to make this costume, then it's easier for me to just have a video than have to explain it. So this is just a video, there's a time lapse, and then I do an explainer at the end of how to make the DIY Mrs. Pac-Man costume. It can also be a Mr. Pac-Man costume. I just happen to do Mrs. Pac-Man. You could do like a couple's costume. The benefits of this one is just that it's warm, and Halloween can be cold and you're always out at night, and I don't like to be cold. So it's warm. It's also a modest costume that's still really cute. And I like that I don't have to wear anything like, you know, too skimpy, and I don't mind wearing like tank tops or whatever, but mostly for me, it's warm, but for some people it might be that they want to do it because it's modest. So there's that as an option. So go ahead and just watch the time lapse real quick, and then I will be back and we will go over some of the instructions of how I did it, and just explaining, you know, the process. So enjoy. So basically what you're gonna need is a bunch of felt. These are like 32-cent pieces from Walmart. They're about this big, but without the Pac-Man chunk out of it. So they're about the size of a sheet of paper. And I got quite a bit extra, but I was gonna do something else with it. So really you're only gonna need one white felt, a red felt, a pink felt, orange felt, blue felt, all the ghost colors, and then the red is also used for her lips and the bow. And then I messed up and did not get a black felt, and I'll probably get one later, but I ended up using some of this cardstock that I had that was like glittery, which is cute, but the felt kind of does a little bit better for you know, moving around with the costume on. And not like, you know, crinkling and, you know, getting messed up. So that's why I was trying to color this, but it didn't really show, it didn't work as well as I wanted it to, so I'll probably just go buy another piece of felt, which is like 32 cents, so no big deal. So you're gonna need piece of black felt, piece of red felt, You're gonna need all the colors for your ghosts. And then you also need a yellow t-shirt, black leggings, and a black undershirt. A long sleeve black undershirt. I also like this costume because I originally did it because I've done it a couple times because it's like easy. It's something I know how to do. Because it's warm. Because you don't have to wear, you know, some skimpy outfit, and it's still really cute. I usually just put like a red bow in my hair and then curl my ponytail, because the ponytail, I don't want it like covering up anything. So I'll just do like a nice curly ponytail and a red bow and red lips and makeup and stuff. But you don't have to do that. So what I do to start my ghost, because I'm not super artistic, like I need something to be able to trace off of. So I get this graphing notebook. I have a graphing notebook here. That's my ta-da sign. So you'll get the one that has the little grid on it. And what you're gonna do is, I just look up like a Pac-Man online that's in a grid. And I guess I could show you, let's see. Well, I'll show you later. But basically, you get the grid, and I usually draw a box. So I would just draw a box of about how big I want this Pac-Man to be, so that I know, like, I don't go outside of that box. So let's say I have like this big of a box, and I want my Pac-Man to fit within that box. And usually I would try to do like equal amount of squares, because you're going to be using the squares to draw the Pac-Man. So you would like count the squares and make sure you have like, what, 20, 20. And then if you're going to do it exactly like mine, I did four little blocks for the head, and then you step down one, go over two, step down one, over one, step down one, over one. And this is what it looks like. So you can pause it and see how many blocks those each are. But each ghost is the same, so it's easy. You just make one little stencil. And then once you make your stencil, you can bring that over. I like to use Sharpies or markers, because it marks on the felt pretty well. And what you're gonna do is grab your felt, and you can kind of see this a little bit in the time lapse. It slowed down for that. It was a little too fast, so you would take your stencil and then draw around it, and then you're gonna cut it out. And I didn't have the eyes. I cut out the eyes later and just do the eyes separately. So you just need to cut around. You don't need to mess with this part for the ghost. So you're gonna cut out all your ghosts, and then get your white felt, and I cut out the stencil. So I have this little stencil here. It looks kind of like a red cross thing, like a really chunky cross. And you just put this here, draw like what? 8 of them, so you have 2 eyes for each of them, 8 of these, and then cut those out. So like for this one, if you're going to do the eyes, it's 2 across, 3 down, 2 across of the grid. And it's just a normal grid. And then after that, the only other thing, well, not the only other thing, but the next thing is going to be your dots. And you want to get something. I had like a little paint bottle, and I just traced the circle around it, but just get however big you want the circles to be. The bigger they are, the less you have to cut out, and those are the things that take the most dang time, is cutting out the circles. So if you don't have a ton of time and you want to just like, yes, there's a dot there. If you don't want it to be like a ton of dots like there are in actual Pac-Man, then do bigger dots. But really, it only took me, even with like a real small dot like this, I cut out more than I needed, but I only needed really like 1, 2, 3, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So like a little more than half a dozen dots. It really doesn't take that long. So trace your dots, cut out your dots, then you have dots. And then you're going to want to get your black felt, and I just make a really big triangle for her mouth. So I usually just take like the piece of felt like this and get a ruler, so it's really just like the full length of this felt, and then get a ruler and just draw and make a big old mouth, but do it on the black felt if you get it. And then on the black felt also, you're gonna want to make an eyeball, and how I did that was I used the lid of a candle. This is like a Bath and Body Works candle, so it's about that size, and then just trace it and cut it out. And then you're also going to want to make a slit in the eye so it looks like an eye. You don't have to, but I did. And I just kind of eyeballed it. Eyeball. That was such a bad joke. But you just cut a little piece out of it, and then it will look like this. So, see the same, it's about the same size. So you leave about, what, like an inch, go about into an inch, and then just cut out. Leave a good chunk so that you can see the eyeball, but that's just kind of, you just, whatever, wing that part. And then the two hardest parts, the ones that I have a really hard time with, and it's always an afterthought, are the lips and the bow. I always forget that I have to do those, and they are my least favorite because pretty much, like, I try to make it look nice, and then I just end up winging it. So this time, I've done in the past where I just did two little crescent moons almost, just like, almost like two of these. But this time I gave her some, you know, big voluminous lips because it's in style, I guess. And so really I just like flat bottom and then curve up to the top, and then two humps and flat on the side. So nothing crazy. And then that one as well. So you just cut that out of that red felt. That same piece of felt should do fine. You would only really need one of those. I had plenty of left over. So those are her lips. So then those are good. And you're gonna tape all of this on. I just tape it. Use like double-sided tape, and it's really easy. I do recommend that you put it on, like, I don't tape it to the costume before I put the like clothes on. I would put the legging on, put the shirts on, and then tape it so you can see like where it's gonna go, because like if you tape it on beforehand, it's just wonky. It doesn't really work. So I leave all of these pieces loose until I'm ready to go. So those are the lips, and then last thing you're gonna have to do is the bow. And this is my, like, actually this is the least favorite part. Like the circles, they take a really long time to cut out. The lips, you just kind of have to wing them. But like, as long as there's a red piece of something, they look like lips. And then since I'm not very artistic, this is difficult for me. So I just look at a picture of a bow and try and draw it on the grid paper. And then what I did this time to make it a little bit easier was I drew one side, because I'm really bad at making them look even. Like this, I mean, this one looks okay. But what I did was I drew it out on the grid paper, one side, and then folded it. And then you can either like cut it out that way, which would probably have been easier, or I just got a Sharpie and then traced around it, and it copied to the other side of the paper. So when you unfold it, you have a whole bow. So that was pretty, a lot easier than the last time. Last time I really struggled. So getting better, getting faster. And if you're good at drawing those or just eyeballing it, then it won't be very hard for you. So we have the dots, we have the ghosts. Oh yeah, for the ghost eyeballs, let me get a ghost. Oh, let's see. For the ghost eyeballs, you're gonna want a blue Sharpie or a marker. I just like Sharpie. I feel like it lasts longer and, you know, shows up. But, so you've cut out your ghost, and now you've cut out your ghost and you've cut out your little eyeballs. And then those will get taped on as well. And then you're just gonna wanna do like, so, it doesn't really matter, but I just did like 2 of the little grid squares. I guess I threw away my square. But like when I cut this out, you can see that I wrote, well, you probably can't see, but I wrote blue in the little tiny square right here, and it's just a 2x2 grid box of the eyeball, so it looks pretty proportional. And you don't really have to eyeball it, so again, eyeball. That's funny. Every time I talk about eyeballs, I talk about eyeballing it. So yeah, these are the eyes, and once you draw them, if you don't like how they're facing, you can just flip them around and they can look the other way. So, and that doesn't look very good while I'm holding it, but you know, you tape them on. I think that's about it. I was going to put glow in the dark because, you know, it's always dark when you go out on Halloween. I was going to put glow in the dark on the dots, and I still might do it, but I just didn't do it right now. Let me see if it'll glow. Oh. Kinda. It's, hold on. Bunch of lights. It's not really glowing on camera, but it is glowing out here, so. It's glowing in my neck of the woods. So, you can do that. But it is, this one shows up green, so I don't think I'll do it because I don't really want green dots. But I think that's about it. It'll be good for me to have this in the future if I ever end up making it again, because I go back to whatever I know, even though I should come up with a new costume. But and then, I mean, if you wanted to do like regular Pac-Man and do like a couple's costume, you could, and just take off the bow and the lips, and then that's pretty much the only thing that really makes it Mrs. Pac-Man. I thought about trying to give her eyelashes this time, but I just didn't want to. So I didn't. Maybe in later iterations if I ever do it again. I think that's the word. Iterations. Pretty sure. Later versions. So yeah, that's about it. I think that I explained everything. If you have questions, just let me know, and I can try to help you. Unless you're me watching this in the future, and then sorry. But yeah, that's it. I hope you, if anybody makes it, please send me your version of it. And if you have any hacks, like the bow hack, if you find anything to make it easier, let me know, because anything that's easier is always better. So, all right. Thank you. Bye.